Hello everyone, welcome to Polygon Live. My name is Christopher Thomas Plante. I work at Polygon. I'm joined today by the guys from Vlambeer. I got Rami, I got JW.
Hello. You have 3 names?
What? Christopher Thomas Plante. Yeah, wow. I'm a good Catholic kid.
Wow, I have 7 names.
Can you say your full name?
Always
Rami,
trying to
Ibrahim,
top everybody.
Hanafi, Ismail, Masoud, Ali, Freer.
That's such a more beautiful name than what I have.
It's my father, and then his father, and then so forth.
You know the great thing about my name? Chris Thomas, if you say it really quick, Christmas, and then Plant. Guys, welcome to the show. Today we're going to be talking about Nuclear Throne, and I'm going to just have us kind of hop into it, but there's a whole bunch of other things that we're going to talk about, namely that you're launching a game today also that isn't Nuclear Throne.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, let's kind of jump into this.
Sure, let's go for it.
Yeah.
All right.
So this game is early access right now on Steam. So it's not technically an officially launched game.
Correct, yeah.
But you've pushed, what, $200,000?
Yeah, no, yeah. It's been... So early access essentially means that people can buy the game while we're developing it. And it's sort of a Wild West thing, because some companies use it to get paid beta testers effectively. So instead of paying for beta testers, they will ask people to pay to test for them. While other companies use it as a way to, you know, see the game grow a bit and play around with the community and have some fun. And we're definitely in that second camp. We just really want to see how people play the game and how they're enjoying it. So effectively what that means is if you like the game, you can go on Steam right now and buy it for $12.99 and start playing. And then every week we release an update to the game on Saturday, with the exception of this week because we're at GDC. And then besides that, we've also been live streaming development completely. So every Tuesday and Thursday on Twitch TV, you can watch how we make the game and talk to us while we're working on it.
How is that not stressful? Because I know you release the updates on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
It's not stressful.
It is stressful. No, it is absolutely stressful. It is a thing that we did without fully knowing what we were getting into.
Sure.
So, you know, we reached out to, this game was originally created during Mojam, which was this charity game jam, and part of the requirements for that was that you live stream your development. So when time came that we said, okay, we're going to take Nuclear Throne and make it into a full game, it just felt as if that was part of what the game was.
Sure. Yeah.
So we just kept doing that, and we emailed Twitch and we emailed Steam, and we said, okay, listen, we want to live stream the development on this game. Can you help us out? Can you put us on the front page? Can you do all these things? And they said, well, yeah, we can. You just have to stream regularly. So how about Tuesday and Thursday? And we're like, that sounds reasonable. And they're like, how about 1 p.m. to 5 p.m.? We're like, sure, we'll do it. And then we started doing that, and it turns out that that's actually a
pretty
lot of work.
Horrible schedule. Yeah.
So our week looks like Monday we work on the game, then Tuesday we work on the game while there's a camera aimed at our faces. Then Wednesday we work on the game. Then Thursday we work on the game with camera on our faces. Then Friday we wrap up all the bugs. We try to fix all the stuff that we broke to make sure that on Saturday we can write our update logs and make sure the game launches.
Yep. And on Sunday we see people's feedback on the game and then get back to work.
And then we get back to it. It's actually a whole lot of work, but it's been it's been rewarding.
Yeah, and it's a very fun project. Like, we've been putting a lot of effort into making sure that, you know, we're actually enjoying what we're doing, because basically this is like a game designer's dream where you're making monsters and guns every single week and no coding other than that stuff.
It seems like you need a lot of confidence for that, almost. I mean, as someone who writes on the internet, I know full well that sometimes people don't like what you're doing.
Yeah.
And to be able to put yourself out there like 2 times a week, which is a lot. It sounds less than you think it is, I think, when you decide that you're going to do something like that.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
you realize, like, wow, these people are going to be in my business.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll love it and sometimes they won't. Like, how do you basically know that, like, okay, I'm on the right track? Maybe people don't like it right now.
Good call, that was a mimic. So it's one of the, like, if you make video games, you're essentially already doing that, right? If you make a game, you're already putting yourself out there. So we've released 18 games in 3 years. We're pretty good with we're pretty good with knowing that we're pretty vulnerable as creators. That's the thing. Like you basically make stuff and you put yourself out there. You hope people like it.
Yeah, and being completely honest and open about things actually gets you in a lot less trouble. Like there's nothing you really have to back on. How do you say that?
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where one of the coolest things about this project is that by showing how a game gets made, and not in the fancy, like beautiful documentary made by really professional camera crews.
I know any guys like that.
This is JW like screwing up a bunch of stuff, and then fixing it, and then me playing the game and being absolutely awful with like 3,000 people watching. Like this is absolutely game development with all its warts and like problems.
Definitely.
And it's
but then on the other hand, we do make sure that our development is not like for this game. It's kind of perfect because it's not just 4 hours of someone playing music they like and coding. Like it's actually seeing someone, you know, create a new character or a new enemy in an hour. Like everything we add to this game can be done fast. So it has that whole game development arc, but it's all like at super high speed.
Yeah. And it's just been fun because, you know, we noticed, and we've this is something we noticed during. You got a new head.
Oh no!
Oh, no. You
give me health.
Almost made it. You can still keep running with chicken when you lose your head.
Yeah, that's her passive ability.
To try and get some health and revive yourself. No, actually, one of the fun things we know is that we noticed during this whole thing is that people don't really know how video games are made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary actually to think that, you know, if somebody's watching this, that they would be surprised at the idea that you have to code that a bullet can hit a wall, right? That if you shoot something and the bullet starts moving.
I've heard about that. And is that hit detection?
Yeah, exactly, collision. I mean, and for a lot of people, the fact that you have to code that you can't just call it bullet and then it works like a bullet is actually a really big surprise. And we've had a bunch of people in the stream actually say like, oh, that's why video games take a while to make.
Yeah.
And similarly with the PlayStation launch now, a lot of people just feel like, you know, you just go in Unity and you hit the button and then you click on PlayStation, then you click play and the game is on PlayStation. You're like, that's not quite how it works.
Do you think it builds empathy between like you and the people who buy your games?
I don't think it's empathy, but
well, also empathy. It's a whole lot of different things. It's mostly understanding, and we feel that demystifying game development is a thing we should be doing right now, because we've really elaborately, as an industry, we've built this mythology around, you know, game development that is glamorous.
And exciting.
And to be honest, a lot of it is just bashing your head on the keyboard and wondering, like, why doesn't it work? And then bashing your head a bit more, and then suddenly it works, and then
you don't know why.
It's like, that's game development. Like, it's hard, it's a lot of work, but you do it because you enjoy it, or you enjoy the challenge, or you enjoy trying to figure out stuff, or you just enjoy adding a bunch of monsters to your game.
It's super challenging, but also super rewarding, and people get to see all of that.
Yeah.
You've called this experience performative development.
Yeah.
And performative is an interesting word too, because it implies a certain amount of entertainment almost.
Yeah.
I mean, why that word?
So we specifically went with that because
Damn
it is actually. Oh, you got smashed by an assassin.
I forgot that they spawn in the sewers, man.
So
Alright, that's the young Venus.
we went with the word performative specifically because we and this is something that we had to learn as well. We got a whole lot of new respect for people that can play video games while talking to people.
Like streaming for 3 hours is 6 hours of work.
And it's amazing because you think, you know, you're just going to sit down and play, but if you just sit down and play, you're going to sound like, oh shit.
Like this.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
And that's really an art in itself. Like playing and talking at the same time while also developing is something super weird.
And in a way, it becomes a little performance, and we try to keep that performance as sincere and genuine as possible. So we don't practice, we don't rehearse anything. We just go into the stream and we do things. But it definitely has an aspect of performance in there. And it was the word that we felt closest resembled our experience. So that's why we said performative.
Do you think that when you talk about this and recommending kind of this idea to other game developers, right, that not to over flatter you, but it does require somebody who can speak to people, who can play games well, who can develop, who basically is this kind of almost Renaissance type of person. Do you think it's something that you can...
I think to make a game you need all of
You
that.
need
Like
to
it's
be
highly
aware.
technical, it's highly creative, it's a lot of work.
You need to know about art. You need to know about music. You need to know about
You
writing.
need to know about people.
You need to know about people. Yeah, at the core of video games is always going to be.
Oh no.
Did you just kill yourself with a disc gun?
Yeah,
That's,
that's her signature weapon, I guess. Right, let's eat some guns.
It's one of those things where, at the core of game development, there's always going to be the player. There's always going to be a human being. It's never going to be, you just create systems for systems. If nobody's playing your game, it's effectively an icon on a desktop, right? It's absolutely nothing. It needs a player. So at the heart of every game development process is the player. So people do know how to communicate, and they need to learn. Like the thing we needed to learn is to communicate within this game. Like how do you communicate Nuclear Throne, and how do you communicate from that world? And that's sort of been the interest. Like what is the tone of this game? And I think it's a really comfortable,
and
hardcore.
The fact that
hard
you
game.
Yeah, it's like extremely comfortable to play. There's nothing in between you and getting your face smashed by 100 enemies,
I've never used comfortable in the same sentence as get your
Well,
face smashed.
I think
but I know what
all
you mean.
Vlambeer games are
Yeah.
extremely comfortable. Like we try to get rid of anything in between you and the game.
Actually,
Vlambeer feel.
except for Lufthouse, I think. Lufthouse is.
I think Luftreise is extremely comfortable.
I
Like
think
you
it's
can
really,
just
really
start.
angry.
Yeah, it's angry, sure, but you can be angry and comfortable.
You can maybe. I can just be angry.
Yeah, I'm never angry actually.
Let's talk about Luftreisers. So you launched a game today.
Yeah, we did.
It's actually probably launching somewhere, I'm sure, right now, because it seems like it's launching gradually across the world.
Yeah, it's rollout, so it's happening right now.
How does that feel to do that, and then talk about this game, and then also be at GDC to talk about other
So
things?
today I'm pretending Luftreise doesn't exist, so you
is
gotta
a
ask Rami
Which
about
is a
that.
luxury I do not have. No, it's been really, really strange. It's weird. So for me specifically, Luftreise feels like the end of a chapter.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
It's the type of game we started out with.
yeah,
kinda.
it's interesting. So the way I look at Vlambeer games, and I used the word comfortable before, and I mean that's what I feel when I talk about Vlambeer games. It's like they're comfortable. They're generally games that make you feel happy or good.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Luftreise was created when Ridiculous Fishing was in the midst of its whole cloning saga. When I used the word saga. Is King.com going to sue us now?
Well, they will anyway. So
It was in the middle of that whole story, right? And
what is
we were
going on here?
we were angry. And I think you can feel that really well in Luftreise. Like in most of our games, you always get the option to just run away and do something else, or take a breather. In Luftreise, if you do that, you lose your combo.
Yeah, Luftreise is super intense.
It's aggressive. It's angry. It's like I need to shoot this. And after that, Ridiculous Fishing came out. Whoa, that was close.
I'm alive.
Ridiculous Fishing came out. It did really well. It won a whole bunch of awards. Nuclear Throne is going really well. So we're not angry anymore. And now we're releasing this really, really angry game. And it's been sort of hard for me actually to switch between the two modes.
Yeah,
We're talking about Nuclear Throne, and then
Yeah, but Nuclear Throne is a very it's a kind of a game with a very somber atmosphere, but playing it is extremely
fun. It's happy. You feel good.
And you can see that distinction in most Vlambeer games. Like there's half of our games were made when we were happy, and the other half of the game were made when we were depressed and dealing with
it's
stuff.
the equivalent of having a band that has a depressed album or something. We just
The
have,
Beck thing.
Yeah.
Beck releases an album.
This is our blue album. Is Luftreisers. And
Please
then
don't say that.
Nuclear Throne is our new. It's just a new chapter, and it's actually really it feels like now with Luftreisers being released, we have officially
I hate you.
closed the Ridiculous Fishing chapter. That's that's a really nice feeling. That's.
So we're gonna see something that, like you said, this is somber. Is there something that's gonna be flowers and roses and sunshine? coming down the line, or will it always be a little?
I mean, we try and make interesting stuff. Like that's really all that Vlambeer games are. And a lot of people know us just for the sort of signature arcade, game feel.
I think we're like the tone and stuff depends on the project. Like we've done all kinds of things, and that's just something that interests us. But the direction Vlambeer games are heading in right now feels like we're trying the same type of game, but bigger worlds and stuff.
Yeah, it's like there's more in there, but it's like they're not bigger games per se. They're just better at what we always try to do.
Yeah, our earlier games have been super contained, like super crate box, 3 stages. You can do this thing, and that's all it's about.
But there was always the lore. There was always the world.
Yeah.
We always put that there. We always put that
but
in
now
there.
it's more playable.
Yeah, we're getting better at putting that in games, and that's actually kind of super exciting to see.
Before we wrap up, I just want to talk about, again, 3 years, like you released all these games, which, whether it's right or wrong, there are a number of indie developers where you hear about a game, right, at IGF in 2009, and then like it comes out this year, and you guys came out of essentially nowhere, it feels like, 3 years ago, and now it's like we have all of this stuff.
Yeah.
What was kind of your philosophy to take that path?
Oh.
We want to make things. We want to make new and exciting things, and when you're making a game, 80% of it is boring.
Production. It's just production. You just sit down.
And we don't want to do that. We don't want to work on a game for
Basically,
longer than a year.
I wish I could say we had a smart philosophy, but the reality is just we get bored. Yeah. If we work on one thing, we get bored.
If we could make Nuclear Throne in a month, I'd be super happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like we have a folder on JW's computer with just hundreds of prototypes, and every time he gets sort of like, I don't want to work on this today, I get an email or a message with like, here's a little thing I made. And that's just like sort of how the whole development works is we get bored, we start something else, and we know it's a bad idea to be starting 3 projects at the same time.
Yeah.
But what else will we do? So it's like if we're working on an action game, we'll make a game about hunting Yetis that is like really slow.
And that's why most of our games, there's like a free version online, like a prototype, like with Nuclear Throne, there's Wasteland Kings, with Luftreisers, there's Luftriser. And those are those little ideas where it started from. And then when we have time for a project again, we can just pick like, this one was interesting.
This one was cool.
Let's
There's
go for it.
here. Let's see what's there.
There's one more thing I have to ask about, just thinking about it now. You two seem like perfect for each other, which is like a weird thing to say, but it's so funny when I think about like how you guys work together. It's so interesting. I'm just curious, like how did you find each other?
So that's actually
a good
really
story.
Good. So we met on the train to our university, the university we would later drop out of, and it was 8 a.m. in the morning, and I'd been working on a game. This is all before Vlambeer, right? So I'd been working on a game with a bunch of friends. We were releasing it. It was 8 a.m. and I was talking to a bunch of fellow students. On the other side of the aisle of the train was this guy with this hoodie just sitting there being really grumpy, and he looks up and he goes, "Can you please shut up? It's like 8 a.m. in the morning." That's how we met. Yeah. So we didn't really like each other, and over like the only thing that ended, like we genuinely have our school to thank for Vlambeer, because the one thing we disliked more than each other, I think, was our school.
I guess. Yeah, and you know, people often say like that you guys aren't friends, and I guess that's kind of true. We're just really good at avoiding each other now, in a way that whenever we meet, it's extremely useful, and we get our stuff done, and we can trust each other, because I know Rami does super good work, and that's why I put up with him.
And that's sort of like it's you know, a lot of people say you have to be friends to work together. I think you just need to trust each other to be able to work together. And I guess in many ways we're opposites. Like I'm more of a, I like to talk, I like to program, I like to deal with like the big problems in the indie scene. JW likes to make games, sit down, have a chat with his friends. So we don't actually agree about anything except for bad science fiction books. Those are pretty good.
No, we don't.
Oh, well, see?
In the end, you never did shut up. And he kept that hoodie up, and it all just worked out.
Yeah, and the only difference is that we're no longer in that train.
Yep, now we're here in San Francisco.
This very strange, like, pseudo-porn set that we've concocted. I think that's a great place to end it. I'd like to thank you guys for coming in and chatting. It's always fun talking to you guys. And thank you for watching. We are at GDC all week. We have plenty more games to come. Until then, I'll see you next time.